So, bonjour, hi, hello, welcome to the stream. I'm Frank Boucher, a Microsoft Cloud Advocate, and today with me I have another Microsoft Cloud Advocate, Tierey. Hi, welcome to the stream. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Could you introduce yourself? Maybe explain what you do a little bit. You have a focus and yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Tiemey Cyren. I'm a senior cloud developer advocate at Microsoft in the open source engineering team. So what that entails for me is I generally focus on open source work and then kind of working to help teams at Microsoft understand that and bring product feedback around open source projects and how developers using those open source projects would want to interact with Azure or XYZ other product. So yeah, I spend the majority of my time working on open source. So I contribute directly to Node. I'm chairperson of the community committee there. I also work on Electron. I'm ramping up some stuff with NPM. And then I, work in the OpenJS Foundation as well as a member of the Cross Project Council there. So the higher level committee, I guess, is what we would call it in Node, but it's a council in the foundation. So yeah, that's a lot of what I do is just working on open source, helping, ship some nice things, help improve developer experience there, and then also bringing that context back to Microsoft and kind of helping Microsoft understand how to help engage with those projects meaningfully.
Awesome. But that's really JavaScript focused, but you're still involved, like obviously because we will be doing some Azure today, but is it always related to Azure, or like I'm assuming a lot of time it's really like language focused.
Yep. So I focus a lot on the language itself, and then basically like that gives me context. So like, for example, with ESM in Node, I can go kind of focus on that, learn a bit about it, help create content for it in the project, help drive it to be a better developer experience in like docs and stuff. Now, I didn't work on ESM and Node, but like help kind of give talks and stuff about that. And then when a product team in Microsoft in Azure says, hey, we need to be caring about ESM in Node, I can then go help them say, here's all the things you need to know. Here's the things you can ignore. Here's what you need to do to make this good developer experience moving forward as ESM starts getting traction. And the same goes for like worker threads or HTTP3 or any kind of, or I guess quick, but that kind of feature. And so it helps. Basically, I can become a SME for deeper parts of the language and the platform, and help Azure folks really lean into that and start kind of getting ahead in that space, before those things actually end up shipping.
Cool.
And then I get to go play with those things on Azure itself once they're there, which I get to build nice APIs for Node folks and stuff like that. So
nice. And what do you have for us on Azure? What's the plan of today?
Yeah, so today we're going to start out building an Express app using Node. So we're going to start from initialization of the project all the way up to we have an Express app that's working and running, and then we're going to end up deploying that into app service, and then if we have time into ACI, so Azure Container Instances, and kind of show the process of building the app, and then going into just getting it into Azure and getting it on the public internet.
Cool. So should we get started? Let me share your screen. And boom.
Cool. So I've gone ahead and created a tiny directory here. There's nothing here.
Like right now, like because it is in the bottom of the screen, we won't see a lot of it because my face is in the way.
Your face is in the way. Okay. You can do full screen if you want.
Oh, that's definitely better.
Okay, cool. I will.
Yeah, because in the lower corners, there's you and there's me, and in the top left there's a title. So right now it's Node on Azure. So a little bit
gotcha.
Overlay design here.
Gotcha. Cool. Is that good though?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Cool. So I'm just gonna get started here, just initializing the repo itself. So I'm gonna do npm init. So are you familiar with npm init?
No.
That command specifically? Okay.
Oh,
So what
I start like let's go. Let's be clear. By the way, hi everyone in the chat. Hi Michael. Hi don't break the rules. Making fun of me because I was concentrate. Make sure the volume was good. So I just started. Seriously, just started. I think it's 3 weeks ago with Node, and I was having some help from, of course, my community, building a chatbot using JavaScript. So I did some npm init or install, I forgot, and I did a few commands, but like I was doing what they are telling me. Like I didn't dig into it. So like go ahead and explain. I will be happy.
Yeah. So npm init basically by default is a interactive CLI. Gives you a little bit of context. It allows you to fill in package name, version, description, entry point, tests, get repo, keywords, license, and it then, as you fill that information in, I was just hitting enter there because I generally go for the defaults. But I was just hitting enter. But if you do actually here, so I'm going to remove. Actually no, let's do no. So yeah, we didn't create a package JSON with that. So if we do npm init y, it just creates it. So like I don't have to hit enter 50 times, which is something that a lot of people don't know exists, and they just hit enter every time, which is a really nice thing. I
definitely didn't know. That's awesome. Like, yeah, we'll never do that again.
Yeah. And so you'll actually notice here that it defaulted to MIT, which npm by default, like itself, chooses ISC, which is a variant of MIT. And then it also actually set my name, my email, and my personal URL as the author, and then it set it to version 1. Or 0.0.1. So I actually set all these up myself with npm config. So like npm config init.version, and then you can do like, I don't know, if you want to do like 20, if you want to just set your, nope.
Okay, so it's very similar, like, like the variables you have when you use Git. And like since it came after, the .NET has the same kind of wizard when you start a new project, the scaffolding or like the wizard experience. I'm assuming Node came before, so it was inspired from Node. But it is like, it felt very homey.
I believe one of the people who actually works, I don't know if I'm not super familiar with like .NET. Are you talking about NuGet specifically in that space?
No, well, like when you create a new project in .NET, you do .NET new, and then like you say, let's say you want to do a Blazor. Blazor is really popular these days, so you could do .NET new Blazor, or like if it's an API, .NET new API, and then like you could have some question that will pop up just like you show. So now I'm intrigued, and I will go check in .NET if I have that -y, so I could skip a few of those questions next time.
So like, I just want to get this set up. So we're going to actually just run with that. I'll change the version a bit later. We're also going to want to initialize this as a Git repo, so get in it. And then we're actually, so do you know what NPX is? And NPX specifically. That's what I said, because I realized I might have slurred that a bit.
I think I saw you doing NPX a while back.
NPX is great. So NPX is npm. It's basically npm install globally and then run whatever the bin is. So if I do npx git ignore node,
let me move. There it is. So it's a bit funky though, because now you look outside the monitor, and I'm looking you right in the face. But this way we won't be in the way. It looks like we are talking to each other a lot. I'll try to move myself a little bit.
Here, I can see if I can do this in terminal rather than in the integrated terminal in VS Code, if that helps.
Like
Let's
that's
see
fine.
here.
Tierey, like that. I move away. It's just like the visuals are a little bit strange when you look at your
Weird.
screen, but like that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I guess we'll go with it then. So basically, I'm going to do npx getignore node. So getignore is actually a module that here, if we pull this up, npm.im getignore. So this is actually a module that just pulls a getignore from the repo that GitHub maintains. So they maintain a bunch of different getignore files for like, .NET or Rust or C# or whatever. So they maintain a bunch of those files. So you can just use this module to add any getignore. So I generally use this pretty aggressively for Node. I can just type npx getignore node, and then if we look over here, I need
to pause a few seconds because we got raid. We got
hey.
raid by 95 raiders from Visual Studio. Welcome everybody. We're doing Node.js on Azure with Tierey, and we're just getting started. So you join at the perfect timing. So welcome everybody. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. We're just getting started, so you didn't miss anything. We just did npm init and now git, and Tierey is explaining the magic of npx getignore.
Yep.
So let's continue now. Sorry.
Awesome. You're good. So npx basically just goes and fetches the tarball of the package and then runs whatever if it has a bin, it'll run that bin. So in this case, I ran npx getignore node, and the bin of the getignore module just goes and fetches the node getignore file from GitHub, from their repo, and then actually it just pops it out into our project here. So I do that as kind of like an extension to npm init of like, I'm always going to want to getignore because node modules basically. So it's real nice to be able to just run that and not have to go copy paste it from the internet or run a curl command or something like that.
I use an extension, Visual Studio extension, to do that. I'm assuming in the back it's probably calling that.
I bet you it's getting it from GitHub, yeah.
Yeah, because like if I have different kind of project, I could do it's a Visual Studio project, or like it's this language project. So it looked very similar. The experience is like, getignore, and it's like, that's cool. But I use Visual Studio. It's nice that you have it right and as a command.
I've set up a shell script that just does all of my commands, but I wanted to make sure I go through them so I don't do too much magic. So I have two more that I do. So I do npx license MIT. So there's a module called license that will go and fetch a license. I think they changed this one to be npx. I think they changed this one to be interactive. So let me just pull that real quick, because so I did list the license in package.json, but you still want to include, like, listing it there doesn't actually mean it's licensed like that. Like if you say it's licensed like that, it doesn't necessarily mean it is. So you still want to actually include the license file. So similar thing, this goes and fetches that module, pulls down the MIT license and fills it out. I believe it just pulls my name and stuff from Git, from the Git config.
So this is cool. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. I want that.
It's a real utility. Yeah.
I need to edit all the time those files when I create new project.
Yep. So I think you can also do npx license MIT, and it'll skip the interactive bit. I used to have to do license, but they changed that, and it keeps breaking my shell scripts, which is really annoying. So yeah, it just, running that, you'll get the MIT license or whatever license you want to have. I think it uses the SPDX license identifiers. So the Linux Foundation project that basically has is like an authority on licenses. And then the other one I want to do is just make sure I add a code of conduct. So I'm just going to do cubgen, which this will add the contributor covenant, which is used by a bunch of projects. It's used modified by the OpenJS Foundation, by Node, by Electron, by Linux, I think, by quite a few projects at this point. So this is generally what I try to follow, largely to keep consistency with the rest of the ecosystem. So if you just run npx cubegen, this was broken for a bit, so I hope it's fixed now. I think they fixed it. Cool, they did. Yeah, so basically it just goes and puts out the code of conduct there. And you can actually see if I do, yeah, so I don't care if y'all have my email address, but yeah, so this is like basically reach out to me if you have a problem with something that happens in this repo, and it will be taken care of. So by putting in your email address there, it actually autofills it into the appropriate place in the project, which is really nice. Just very, very nice experience to get that done and kind of get it going. Cool.
That's cool.
That's
I really want to know if like I can have those things not just in Node, but yeah. Though I'm using now Node like for one of my projects. I have 2 projects going on my stream, so like yeah, that will definitely run those things for that specific project, my JavaScript one. But yeah, for the others, like that's super convenient.
So as long as you have Node on the system, as long as you have Node and npm on the system, like the npx git ignore and then whatever name, the npx cubegen and the npx license, you can just run that, and it's not really project specific. Like as long as you have Node installed, it'll just put it where whatever directory you're in.
Yeah. So
it's useful in that way. And there's a bunch of utility modules like that I try to use as often as possible because they're just so nice. Cool. So that's like, that's kind of initializing the project. That's, the first steps I take in any Node project I start. Now we kind of want to actually get into building it. So in this, we're going to be doing a few things. We're going to be, this is going to be a Node thing. We're going to be using Express to start building this application. So like this is going to be a web server using Express. I'm also,
yeah, that's the one my community told me to use. So I used it a bit. Like I know probably 1% of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean Express is huge.
Yeah, it's popular, I think.
Massive thing. Yeah, by far. I think it's like 80% of HTTP framework or web framework downloads for JavaScript that are public. Like, of course, people cache locally or they're in their private registries and stuff. But yeah, it's a huge amount of the ecosystem. So I also want to just early on, like as a kind of point of project hygiene, introduce a linter, just because that's kind of the thing that I try to do well with, is just making sure that I'm writing clean code the whole time. So I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm going to do npm i-d. So npm I is shorthand for npm install, and then -d basically says save it as a dev dependency. So capital D. I think dash lowercase d is normal dependency, but that's implied by just npm I or npm install. So npm I dash capital D says install this as a dev dependency, and then we're going to do standard, just because that's what I have been using in every project for the last 2 years, and it's how I write JavaScript now. So yeah, we're going to use standard. No semicolons is the highlight that everyone knows standard for, but there's a lot of really good rules, and it's very good out of the box linter. Cool. And then we're also going to
Fastify.
Yeah, I do. Fastify is pretty good.
Well, because Vino Miss was asking. So yeah, you could like, can I advocate? I'm not sure you will be able to do a lot in the chat, but yeah, feel free.
So yeah, Fastify is great. I know Matteo, Galina, and some of the other collaborators pretty closely. Yeah, Fastify is great. In this case, I want to use Express, just because like that's what I'm most familiar with. I've not done anything with Fastify yet, and I keep meaning to and not getting to it. But yes, Fastify is very, very good. Would recommend if you get the chance to, or if you have the opportunity to use it for something in production, highly recommend. But in this case, we're gonna go npm install Express, complete opposite of what I just said. So we're gonna use Express here, and just kind of try to
Well,
chunk
we're
out
trying
support with that.
to be in common ground for a lot of people, so that's why Express make more sense today.
Yep. Yeah.
But I think you mentioned it when we were off stream. You mentioned it to me. I was just not sure. That's why I was like, you know that thing, right? Because I like, yeah.
It's a good one. But yeah, I am also just, I've been using Express my entire time in JavaScript, like since day one. So yeah, it's easier to get up a demo rolling with Express for me. So we've now installed both standard and Express. They're going to be in our Node modules. Dev dependencies, cool. They're both correct versions. Let's change this. Yeah, Node.js, I think it should be on Azure actually. So we're just going to change the name real quick. Cool. So let's get started on actually writing our app code. So let's go here. So we're going to create touch app.js. By the way, I realize I'm using shell scripts and stuff like that. I'm using WSL. I figure I should mention that. So just using my beefy PC, my gaming PC, because it's got lots of power and it's hardwired. But yeah, so using WSL here, it's honestly it's been really nice to be able to move my shell scripts over and to Windows and WSL and not have to worry about anything. It's been real nice. So we have an app.js, cool. So we're gonna want to start by going ahead and requiring Express. So Frank, you mentioned the other day when we were talking before about const and let and
yeah, I learned that recently because, like I say, I'm learning Node and JavaScript. I did JavaScript like maybe 15, 20 years ago. So I learned the JavaScript back then and kind of not do any JavaScript since then. And when I was reading documentation and stuff, a lot of things were like not using var, they were using const and let, and I was like, well, why? And after that, I saw some blog post that was explaining that var is kind of the global thing and let is more the proper way to define of something that will change in the time in a specific scope, and const where was a const.
Yeah, so const is also scoped though. So const is scoped to the specific context.
But you cannot change it, right?
Yeah, so you can't change it, but it's also, so like if just for example, if we did like function a.
You mean like cool. So you could declare another port inside, and it will work. Yeah.
Right. So no, you can't declare another port inside. That's not allowed. But this, so if we did this, if we try to do like if we tried to do that lol is not accessible. You can actually see that because it's like it would be this color, this blue, if it was being called, but because we're not in that scope,
okay.
It's not actually being called. Yeah. So yeah, that's it's also scoped to this in the same way that like so these ones are globally scoped, so these are accessible. So like if
because you declare it at the root, right?
Right. Yes. So yeah, you can see that's not being called, but like this one is not accessible here. Yeah. So that's a useful. Const is real nice for a lot of things. And actually standard. So if we actually did this, like if we do this, one thing I really like about standard console. That was, my fingers were very off. So if we did that, I think, and then run standard. So yeah, basically standard should yell at us because we're never actually reassigning port. So standard will force us. Yeah. So there's a few things here. I don't know why there's a semicolon there. But it'll actually say port is assigned a value but never used. Yeah, that's fine. But it's never reassigned, so it actually forces us into use it, or helps us kind of get into the place where we're using the right thing, which is really nice. And that's a very useful thing to make sure you're kind of having a little bit more safety there. In JavaScript at this point is just that's just an ESLint rule. Standard enforces that by default, but that's a good ESLint rule to turn on. if you want. So kind of continuing on the app and stopping getting sidetracked. I'm gonna just set up the paths of this. Oh, I don't want E. So this is kind of the normal pattern of Express. So you require Express. You set up as an app as your instance of Express, and then you start setting routes. So in this case, we're just going to do, anytime there's a get on the app, so on Express, on the route path, we're going to do a request response. So this is just the normal callback architecture.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about Fastify and some of the other more modern frameworks is that they do allow you to do a promise architecture. So like they allow you to do async await more consistently, kind of, and promises themselves. Express has asked for that a few times, but they haven't really gotten there at this point. And I would be surprised if we do end up getting it within the next year or two. So yeah, definitely still callback architecture, but it works and it's pretty well built out and tested. So I try to kind of go with it. So response.send. So we're just going to send a response. So I try to do request and response. People sometimes do rec and res. Yeah. I try to do the fuller one for readability. Request and response, and then we're going to send. Let's see. It's the shortcut on Windows. Hello, wave. Hello from Express. Cool. So if we do that and then we set up the listener, so app.get basically serves a get request. Mm-hmm. So when you do app.get / anytime there's a get request to that / this is what it's going to do. But we also want to make sure we're actually listening on a port. So here I'm just going to use the port variable. You can just set it as a number, so like you can do 3000 or whatever. You can just set that, but I generally like to have that kind of config at the top, just so people can come change it later if they need to, and it's not hard coded. So doing that, and then we're gonna do. Yeah. So I'm just doing an arrow function here. This is a bit of a shortcut to.
So in the chat we have Bonbon was asking like what's the software you're using. So VS Code, it's a free tool, awesome tool. Right now it's paired with some WSL in the background, so he could be in Linux mode for his CLI. The bottom part, the terminal, is in Azure. It's a Windows for what's it again? Like Windows subsystem
Windows for Linux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always mix it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I'm using Ubuntu right now, inside of Windows, and then I'm using NVM to control Node. So that's a Node version manager. So the Linux version manager for Node inside of Windows, which is how I would highly recommend using Node in Windows at this point. It's a really good experience. And then VS Code. And a bunch of extensions, GitHub extension, highly recommend, stuff like that. So yeah, I can give you a list later of the stuff I'm using. But yeah, largely Microsoft technologies at this point. Cool. So I kind of as you were speaking there, I did some work. So this is an arrow function. This is an arrow function. Are you familiar with arrow functions in JavaScript?
The what? Sorry.
So this is an arrow function.
No.
Are you familiar with arrow functions?
Well, like it sounds something. It looks like something I know in C#. So I'm assuming just kind of a yeah. You're just doing a function and then just.
Yeah. So like these are basically the same thing. The only there is a difference. I'm not good at explaining the difference. But basically it has to do with this. I believe it pulls the this from the higher context, rather than it being scoped to that, the current context, although I could be totally wrong on that. But generally, I find this a little bit cleaner to write, especially when I'm doing something small. Additionally, it's just you can kind of do a little bit less with it, or a little bit more with it in terms of a one-liner. So here I'm actually just calling an anonymous function, no arguments or anything, because app.listen takes a callback. So we're writing a callback here, and we're saying basically, in this function, because of how JavaScript works, that this is a functionally equivalent to this. So that this is the same thing as this, because you can kind of continue a statement on one line and have it be scoped. Like you can do the same with if true console.log hi. You can do that, and that still works. That's an if statement because it's all the same line. So yeah, we're doing that same thing here, applying that same concept of just saying, hey, here's your callback. It's a console log, and saying our app's now listening. So if we do this, if we do node, watch this crash spectacularly. Yep. Oh, I already declared express. I somehow duplicated that. Told you, I called it. Allow net access. Cool. And then we should be able to go over here.
That was just to prove we're live, right? That it's not recorded.
Yeah.
This is why we're live, because it crashed. Otherwise, we'll have cut that part.
Hey, cool. And that's also a nice thing about WSL is this is actually this is my browser in Windows, and it's tunneling out the local host incorrect port to Windows from WSL. Thank you, Cassie. Really appreciate that link. Yeah, it's really nice that it does that. So yeah, we're now doing Express in Linux WSL using Node.js. So pretty cool. So let's kind of go from there. First, you have any questions, Frank, or anyone in the chat have questions?
I'm good. Like I think.
Cool.
Yes, I had a few questions because like I said, I'm new in Node, but then I wanna go in the Azure part, and if we have time, then I will ask my question because I don't wanna we said we will do Azure, so I don't at least we wanna get there. And by the way, I'm this link. Thank you, Casey, for it. I already added to the show notes, so all the links will be there. When the show go on, we'll have a YouTube, little blog post, everything. All the notes will be there.
Yeah.
But thanks.
So here, I don't think I actually have the Azure extension. I thought I did. Okay, so we're gonna do Azure. Oh, this might be interesting. I don't know if I'm authenticated here. I don't have VPN on this computer. Let's see here. Service. So I'm going to get that set up. So we're going to install the Azure App Service extension for VS Code. This is. I was very confused at how this was displaying. It looked like it was the README was erroring. So I'm going to reload real quick, and we're going to go ahead and plug VS Code again.
Also, we had a question, but I think it's already answered.
Yep.
The parameter, in your declaration, the parameter, it was the of your parentheses, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this. Yes. So it's a request. Basically, the request has everything that the client sends. So that kind of helps you get to a spot where you can
if it's an API, what's the object pass? If you had some a form submitted, so you could read all the information, and then your response, and where you will put all the thing you will send back to the caller, right?
Yeah. So, tiny hiccup here, Frank. I don't have VPN on this computer. Do you mind if I switch to my other video?
No, that's fine.
So I will switch real quick. If you want to pull us into the
side by side.
Yeah. So I will drop from my current camera or my current screen and switch into my Mac screen sharing. If that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Give me 1 second here. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. So we're gonna do this. VS Code. Cool.
How far everybody's week is going so far? Mine is busy, but busy is good. I'm happy busy.
Yeah.
But busy.
Yeah, I am equally busy. It's been quite a week.
Yeah, it's not this week that I will catch up on my Netflix watch time. Definitely not. Oh, Casey, yeah, I heard of you have big projects coming up. Oh, but Casey will be on this stream if she survived this week. Next week she's coming up on Thursday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, Brett. Brett Miller is here. Welcome to the chat. Happy to see you. Yeah, we should have an emote for crazy, right? What could it be? I don't know what it could be. Oh, like this maybe? So it looks like, the little dogs say everything is fine. Whoops. Did we lost you, Tierney? And now I just need to make times. Let me present this little dance. I won't dance.
You hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
That's not good.
Oh,
Okay.
now you're Wi-Fi, right?
Yeah, now I'm Wi-Fi. So that's gonna, yeah, it should be fine. It seems like it's fixed. So let me screen share real quick. Oh boy, operating system preferences.
Could you RDP to your? Well, now you're on that machine, but
yeah. That's a good point.
Well, that's a lot of level, but
Yep. Give me 1 sec. I have to actually pull out my authenticator. Yeah.
Yeah, it is Thursday here. Tuesday, sorry. Oh, that's the thing I like.
God,
I'm always having a lot of fun.
Me.
No, Thursday. No, it's Tuesday. Sorry, that's my French mouth trying to do his best in English. So that's one thing I always have fun to do on my stream. I ask people to just mention where they are. So I'm in East Canada, in Montreal, and yeah, presently is like 2:40 something. I know, Tierney, you're New York based, right?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. Yep.
So yeah, so share where you come from in the chat. It's always fun to see people coming from everywhere. It's always very interesting. Technology is so much stuff. Italy, wow, Newfoundland.
Oh, nice. Oh, is the person from Italy the one who said Fastify?
No, I don't think so.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Vinimos.
Matteo Collina, one of the main people on Fastify is in Italy.
Yeah, Tampa, Morocco. That's so cool. It's like, that's crazy. Like, I know, like, whatever. It's always make me smile. Like,
Yeah.
Globally, like, you reach out to a bunch of people at the same time, and it's like super easy.
Yeah.
Used to be so hard.
Yeah. Oh. And it's nice, at least that's one kind of benefit of COVID right now, is that we're all kind of able to get together a little bit more.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, in a way. Remotely, with distance.
Yeah. Before the stream, we were just chatting, saying, like, we miss traveling.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, should be good here.
Yeah? Should we try to see?
1 second.
I'm not sure you sharing your...
Oh, good. I need to quit Skype so I can screen share because of macOS. I guess re-invite me to call in a sec.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's wait a few seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and now I need to call him on the other account, right? Okay, this one.
Awesome.
Ding, ding,
okay.
Ding.
There.
And
cool.
Did you share your camera? Because right now you're just a big S.
Oh, good.
Like, I mean, the S logo of Skype, of course.
The Skype? Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, now you're back. That's awesome.
Cool. So, we're going to do this cd temp. We're going to do a speed run of...
Should I share your screen now?
Of what we did before. Yep. Can you... Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we'll let you work while you're speed running this level.
Yeah.
We already did that, so it's fine. Can explain. So now he's doing like, this and the capital D's for like strong dependency. It's very important, different. The smaller D is imply in the NPM. You thought I was not listening, eh? I was.
No, you're listening very intently. I could tell.
Oh my god. So, yeah, that was like the first thing that hit me when I tried, like, because I heard a lot of, I don't want, like, I shouldn't talk to you. Oh, okay, it's loading.
No, go ahead.
I heard people doing a lot of Node, say like the package and Node.js and like it's long and everything. And I was like, yeah. They're complaining, But like the first time I did my package update, something like that, like, like then it fetched all the package and it took forever. And I was like, whoa, this is long. I have nothing yet in my project. It's like, okay, now I understand.
Yeah,
it's a thing I didn't know. Like I kind of knew, but never experienced. That's the proper word. See, now it could be recorded. We don't know because he's just calling Express once.
Yeah.
He's like no keyboard sounds. Yeah, it's probably all recorded now.
Yeah, it's the dang butterfly keyboard on the Mac. Yeah, and it was a great excuse to get a Mac demo in. Let's see here.
Well, you should have a dongle. Don't you have a dongle on Mac to plug it on a cable?
Keyboard? So I don't have a dongle. I have a dock that then hooks. Like I have a very complicated Mac setup, and usually my Mac is actually sitting in this dock over here. I assume you can see that, but like this dock here, it sits vertically in that. So I never have it open. So that's why like I wasn't doing it initially on my Mac. Let's see, app.get.
I have a dock for like my new laptop, but I didn't like. It's not a dock. It's just like it holds the laptop vertical, so it takes less space, and then I plug something in. And I was very tempted to buy a like USB-C dock, but I'm happy I didn't do it because apparently there's none who could work with my my machine because the machine is too powerful.
Too powerful?
Yeah, it takes 130 watts.
Oof.
Yeah, like it's a big machine. It's a laptop for video rendering and streaming and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not the regular machine.
Chonky. Yeah. You didn't go with the tower for that?
Well, I have a tower, but like I bought this machine for when I will be traveling because I want to stream and I want to video edit when I'm streaming and stuff like that. So I needed something kind of tiny, though it's not really tiny, and powerful. But now we're not traveling anymore, so I was just like, yeah.
Okay. Works.
Yeah, it's a laptop, but it is like, yeah. My daughter was like, yeah, you could play game on that. So yeah, that's why I won't install any game on it.
Okay.
But totally, like it's a big XPS 15 from Dell.
Yeah.
It's a really nice machine.
Oh, nope, that's the wrong port. We should be good here. I will increase the font size on my browser. One sec. There you go.
That's
cool.
fine.
Okay, back to where we were. Cool.
Hello, Express. Well, we lost the emoji, but that's fine. No, not emoticon, whatever. Emoji.
Yeah. So let's see here. Oh, fine. I'll add it back. You convinced me.
Wow.
You got it.
That was hard.
Okay. Yeah, it takes a lot of convincing for me to add emoji to anything.
Yeah, the chat didn't even have the chance to jump on it.
Yeah. So let's see here. We're gonna now let's see if we can just get this up into Azure. So I think I do actually need to install the Azure App Service. I need to install App Service. So I kind of go through and prune. I go through and add and re-add things over time, just like as I'm using some more than others.
Yeah. I did a request to have in Visual Studio a way to have some activate list. I forgot the name that I gave.
Yeah.
Just to, like, depending on the context, will disable or enable some extension to keep your Visual Studio quick. Yep. And you cannot do that. Like, you could do it as an extension, but then, like, you're super rude because you're just killing other extensions. So like you know, it will look like you're hacking badly. So it must be part of Visual Studio to make sense. But there's not enough people asking for that. So yeah.
Could you kick it to our dual camera real quick while I sign in with my Microsoft?
Yep. Just one sec. Okay.
Yep. No worries. Cool.
Whew. Now, I'm not mistaken...
I just needed to click it. Never mind.
No, sorry. So, the project
good.
extension, if I'm not mistaken, like, there's the workspace where you could say, oh, like, that's the thing I want in that workspace. And the project, I think it's a little bit like that, where you could load or... I forgot. But, like, what I need is, let's say... I want to open Visual Studio and say, now I'm in Node mode, for example, for today. And like mode Azure. So I have like the tools that are useful for JavaScript. I maybe have the Azure component and stuff. But my .NET tools are not present. So my Visual Studio is super responsive and blah, blah, blah. When I open Visual Studio Code, it's today I'm working on a .NET side and like switch .NET. And now I have like no Node, the .NET are there. Or maybe I'm just blogging today, so no extension at all, like super fast, just the markdown tool and stuff like that. So like really disabled, so they're not even loaded in the system. So like your Visual Studio is like, so that was the point of my request. It's there, it's in Git. A lot of people are doing +1, but not enough.
Are we still on dual camera?
We're just surface.
Okay, cool. Do you want to kick it over to the screen share again?
Yep. Just waiting for you, Q.
Cool. I realized it was... Oh, you're waiting for me?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to tell me, like, it's fine. I don't want to... I was not looking. I see your screen on our Skype, but I didn't look at it.
It turns out I was already signed in. I didn't need to do anything. I just needed to click. So cool. I'm using the App Service extension. So this is the one you can just download it from the extension store.
Yeah, when you install that, by default, it will install the Azure, right? Azure Account Management, I think.
Yep. Yeah, and so there's actually... So I think the one I'm using might be slightly different because in Insiders, this has been here for a while and it's hands down my favorite thing that I don't know if it's made it into a normal release yet, but there's actually this new accounts thing here that's in the Insiders build.
Yeah, I have it now in not Insider.
It's so cool. It's so basically like I'm signed in, with my Microsoft account. And so extensions like, App Service or static website or whatever, any of those can actually just request to have access to those credentials. So like I have like 5 or so GitHub extensions. They can all just request access to my GitHub credentials that are like signed in here. which is just so nice for this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm in app service here. Here's the app service extension. I clicked the plus, which will just create a new resource. I selected my personal subscription. We're gonna globally unique Node on Azure. I'm sure that's no. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we can go with Node on Azure. We're gonna do
Everybody
Node
has
LTS.
So right now, what he's doing is creating some prepping some
resources.
Configuration. So we create a resource in Azure, an app service to be exactly.
Yep. Yeah. So I went through and went ahead and selected the subscription I wanted, and then selected what was the thing I just selected? The name. So the name of the thing when it's going to be online. And then I'm going to select the runtime. So I just selected Node LTS. I believe that's Node 14 or the latest Node LTS, which is Node 14, but I'm not sure where the lines are there. But yeah, I believe that's Node 14. So it's going ahead and just doing this work for me in Azure. Yep. And then once that's done, we should have that up and running.
Yeah, and we shouldn't get in trouble from Damien because we didn't right-click deploy, right? It was a plus deploy, so we're totally fine. Damien won't get mad at us. And I will try to find you the link for my GitHub. I'm assuming that's the link that was requested from my request on Visual Studio Code.
Oh yeah, so I do want to say while this is creating the app service plan, yep. Brett said dev container Docker file, so you don't have to install npm or .NET SDKs, etc. VS Code extensions. Yeah, so I've actually been working on some dev container stuff. If you go to the GitHub org, codespace or github.com/codespaces-examples, there's a dev container there for Node, Go, and Rust, and also a base container that's language agnostic. But yeah, so I'm very familiar with dev containers and the Docker file setups there. Highly recommend. They're actually really nice. But I generally, when trying to initialize, I generally try to go with just the raw JS on my platform, largely because often I will find bugs in a non-sanitized environment that I wouldn't find in a sanitized environment, and I want to make sure I generally work on modules and things that I can then consume in something like an API. So I built a Node version API that I deployed to Azure Functions that basically consumes some data that I made in a module and then resurfaces that in a slightly different way. In those cases, I generally try to have it in a more agnostic environment and then test it on everything in a more sanitized environment. That way I can find some issues like that. Cool. So wait, okay, so left click deploy. Is he gonna get mad at us for that? Yeah, so I just clicked deploy when the toast popped up there. Sure, yeah, I'm gonna update that. Yes. Cool. So now it's deploying it. So before it was creating the resources in Azure. I believe I default to US East 2, although I could be wrong. And then now it's going ahead and deploying it. So if we look at the output window, let's hope there's no. Okay, I thought for some reason I read that as check output window for problems. I'm like, oh gosh, why are you telling me to look at it for problems? But it says status. So yeah, we're going ahead and deploying that. It will be here. So I believe if we actually go to this now, I do want to add that to my just domains eventually. But so yeah, right now it's going to be unavailable because it's deploying. But from there, it should just work. We might have to add an npm start. So to do that, we would just do scripts start and then node app.js. And then we also want to make this. I actually guarantee it's going to do that. There we go. So yeah, we might have to do a redeploy there. But with npm start, so the start script, that is what Azure App Service looks for when you are going ahead and getting a deployment up. So it will automatically try to run that, and that will kind of start your app in the cloud.
Okay.
I know we're low on time.
Oh, we still have half an hour.
Oh, good. I was very concerned that I had a minute to deploy this and get
Yeah,
that
no.
app.js
No, it's
running.
90 minutes. And like when I
Cool.
invite people on the show, they're always like 90 minutes, like I don't know, and then like first thing I know is like 2 hours would have been perfect.
Yup.
So we might go
I
for 2 hours in the future. I will be happy because then, we can have our
Yup.
time and like go deeper, ask more question, and but
Yeah. So
we'll yeah. Let's
I'm gonna not
finish
right
this
click
first
deploy.
run.
I'm not gonna right click deploy. See, I clicked the up button rather than the right click deploy. So he again can't get mad at me for that. There's all kinds. He needs to update that term because there's all kinds of ways to get around it.
Yeah, totally fine.
Yeah. So currently doing that, it's zipping it up. So basically, how these deploys work is the extension basically zips your app and then ships it up and then unzips it on the server. That it has been a way that I've noticed we actually get a little bit better performance out of that rather than just transferring each file individually. Doing some tests with one of my coworkers, it's been really interesting to see how different ways you can kind of optimize deployments, especially with Node and Python. I don't know why those specifically, but those two like zip deployments are actually pretty fast compared to
Oh yeah.
other avenues of deploying, which is it's nice to know that going up.
Well, they're always trying to do better.
Yeah.
So just want to close that parentheses. So I will share the link in the chat about my feature request. It has been closed because of the FAR4 Visual Studio. It has been closed, and I think I agree, and I even closed it myself. Because of the rudeness of disabling or shut it down other extension. It was kind of strange, but in a performance state of mind, it was making a lot of sense. But yeah, shut it down the stuff or others. Yeah.
It'd be nice if you could allow, like, similar to the accounts thing, allow certain extensions to have that.
Yeah, like you're switching context. Okay, now I'm in this focus. I don't know. Maybe it was me that I didn't verbalize it correctly in my request. But anyway, I spoke to the VS team and yeah. But yeah, they had other. A little bit like profile, like a workspace. They have very similar thing, but it's not axed on how, like, what are the extension available.
Yep.
And I agree. Like I better have them fixing whatever like issue that everyone is hitting than my little thing that I will be happy.
Yeah. I'm going into my dashboard.
If Skype will die, Teams will win. I don't know. I was on a call earlier today, and it was super cool because I was doing some recording. So right now, I am doing a Skype call with Tierey, where like I take his camera and like I use it in my OBS to project it. But now it's also possible through Theme, though it's a preview feature. So I was on a call and someone else was doing the recording, and we used Theme to do the recording. But I will wait until like it's GA. But I think the target is August, so should be cool.
Nice. So I'm going through and just doing this in the extension here.
Did it fail?
Yeah, it failed. It said it's unavailable. I don't know if I'm getting rate limited or like resource exhaustion for me, or if it's just that I set up the thing wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's go here.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want monitoring. Next. I don't care if it gets deleted when I get audited.
So right now, like I will like focus on like the form. I will just explain. So right now you went to the Azure portal, so portal.azure.com. You click the app service, so that's like a very broad name. And if we oversimplify it, we could say website.
Yeah.
And then you just answer a little bit of what we had previously saw in Visual Studio Code, meaning like the resources, the name of that resources, you pick the location, like that, like where the website will be, like which, what's the word? Data warehouse it will be in across the globe. I'm assuming by default you pick East US because you're based there.
I think I picked Central. I think it was just the default and I went with it. But yes, excellent. You're correct.
And then, so now it will create a website, but a kind of an empty shell. And then from there, we'll be able to push the code. And we're getting raid again. So welcome, Crazy Pie. Welcome to the stream with a party of 11. Just arrived in time to have fun in Azure. Just creating...
I think I might have messed that up and done app service. Or... we can see. I think I didn't.
You did an app service instead of a web app?
No, I did a. I think I did ASP.
When you select the runtime.
Yeah. Let's see here.
That's sad.
Okay. I think I selected the runtime, the correct runtime,
but I didn't watch you. I was looking for my GitHub repo. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the stream.
Wait, I don't want that one.
I will repeat it because a lot of people have joined since then, but like anytime, feel free to ask questions. So we are doing a very basic Node application while deploying it in Azure and kind of exploring to see like, the most current way. Like if you're trying, we're using Express in Node, so the package is very broadly used. So that's why we picked that one. So just to show you how you could deploy many different ways. We saw it quickly in Visual Studio, and now from the portal deploy a resource in Azure. So we'll move our little website, our little dummy website in Azure.
Yep.
But of course it works with big complex website, but that's not the point of today.
Yeah.
We'll have you come back at the next session and like had a database and like bunch of stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then I will be happy because I will learn a lot of Node stuff.
What kind of database do you want to connect it to? Do you want to do a MongoDB one or in a container? Or do you want to do Cosmos DB? What do you want to do?
Whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, not today. Well, I don't think today we'll have. Yeah, of course you could do CLI and a bunch of and curl if you want, and like.
Yep.
The point of using usually a graphical tool when you're demoing is just a little bit more interesting for the viewers instead of just looking at text. But of course, everything that is possible through the portal, or of course Visual Studio Code, is possible through PowerShell or CLI.
There we go. We got it working. I think I just messed
and
up.
could you just like not maximize so we could see the URL? Kind of the ultimate.
I don't think I can change the size of the URL.
No, but like right now it's hidden under the title. So if you demaximize the window and just move it
like that,
that's good.
Cool.
So
yeah, so Node.js. Here, I'll put it in the chat, or actually, if you want to drop it.
You don't have any zoom tool? What?
This is a zoom tool.
Like zoom it and stuff like that. Like magnify. Like that word is way too hard to say. Magnificence.
There is one. I don't know what the key shortcut is though.
Come on, chat. Come on. What is it?
What's the shortcut on Mac OS for that?
Oh yeah, no, he's on Mac.
Well, I switched to Mac midway through the stream.
Yeah, we couldn't keep it too long on Windows. Come come on, like we're 74 people on the chat. I'm sure someone knows. Anyway, I think you can read the URL. If I can, I'm sure most of everybody can do it. So cool. So now we have a website, and usually it's very flawless. It's just like we hit all the bump that's possible.
Yup.
Doing so.
As always.
Yeah, like, a demo.
Yeah. So we got that up now. Would you like to go further in on like calling out to an API or something?
Yeah, that could be cool, because I think I'm trying to see like how we can, like right now, how much time do we have? Like about, let's say 15-20 minutes. So we could call whatever, an API, an Azure function, something like, like a usual scenario, like we have a...
Yeah. Let's see here. That's what I want. Cool. So one of the things I enjoy is XKCDs. I occasionally go through, and there's some real great ones. So what we're going to actually do here is we're going to leave that route how it is, app.get, and we're going to go ahead and create a new route. And we're going to create our kind of own custom viewer for XKCD. Because they actually have an API, basically, that all of the data from each of their things, each of their comics, is like published, including title, all the text, the image link, and everything like that is all published. So if we're going to do that, we can just go ahead and first, locally, we're going to test res.send rec.query. So to answer someone's question earlier, I think I lost who asked this, but someone asked asked what kind of their request looked like. So if we go ahead and do this, let's see here.
Who's the Azure main competitor? Like any cloud provider, the main one would be Amazon, I'm assuming, and Google.
Yeah.
Like it's a cloud provider, so there's like, I don't know, like how many hundreds of services over there, but like, like any major player or competitor.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You thought I didn't?
No, I just wanted to make sure you could. I just making sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Node.js, cool. Okay, so if we go back to our local host 8080, and then comic. So currently that's an empty object, but if you do that, something like hello equals world, that basically each parameter on that query string becomes a property. So what we want to do here is actually kind of leverage that to our advantage, because XKCD is like straightforward, like it's numerical every time. So they kind of increment that version over time. So like, each comic is successively the next one. So what we want to do here is actually go ahead and pull from their API basically. So for an example of that, we're going to do HPS, and then like, let's see, 1919. I have no clue what this one is, so word of warning there.
Drum roll here.
.0.json. So basically, appending this to any.
Yeah, we couldn't see
Oh yes, there.
The URL.
Sorry. Yeah. So XKCD, and then like any comic link. So like 1919, for example. It has all this metadata, including the link, the alt text, the transcript. Although this one doesn't seem to have a transcript. Yeah. So these are all properties that we could get. So what we can do is we can actually go ahead and do some more work. So if we're going to do this, let's do. We're going to actually install a module that's now well, let's do bent npm let's do request. So we're gonna install a module that's now deprecated, but it's one I still like using. So do as I say, don't do as I do. But this is just a simple HTTP request library, basically. It was around for years and years and years and powered much of the internet. But the maintainer does not have time for it or interest in it anymore, so he deprecated it. Yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to actually set up a request here. So const request.
If you trust Vino, the request is to do
327.
Yeah.
I don't know if I do trust that. I half trust you here.
If you have another screen tested in another screen, or maybe I could do.
Maybe not. I just saw the title, like, I without loading the image, I will consider that potential. You tell me if that's one we could do. Cool. So request. So yeah, what we're gonna do is basically get the ID. So request query ID. So let's try loading that again. Node app.js, and then if we load our app again, okay, so it won't return anything if there's no ID. So if we do ID equals world, cool, so it's going to log world, and then if we do ID equals 1919, cool, so 1919, cool. So it's returning the thing we want on basically the value of ID as a property. So what we can do is actually go ahead and do if there is a request query .id, then we can do request HTTP and I think they have s xkcd.com, and then we're gonna do so we're actually not going to use a normal string here. We're going to use backtick string. I forget what it's called in JavaScript, but are you familiar with this, Frank?
Sorry, I was reading the joke.
No, you're good.
Well, I was partially following, but I missed your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, did you? Are you familiar with like the backticks in JavaScript? I believe it's called string.
I experiment that, and I love it. Though I don't find it very intuitive, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's fair. I honestly, the parameters is something I don't find intuitive, but so I just generally use it like this as a way to not have to do like pluses. And it's also more performant, I think. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna have this as const. Actually, no, this is a callback. So
assuming I'm not the only one. Like I just recently know the use of the backtick is now you could, instead of having like concatenation of a string where like you say, oh, put this and then like this has a variable and then like this other part of the string, you could just like put everything in it when it's defined between backtick, and then you put the $sign and the curly brackets and your variable's name. So this way at the end it's like doing a concat of the first part, a variable, and like any other parts you have.
Yeah, so basically doing it with the backticks is the same as doing it like this. Of like string plus thing plus other string, and it's just a little bit nicer to read. At least I think so.
Yeah, like most of the time, like, and I think there's some time where like you won't like. Do you have a string builder in Node?
What do you mean string builder?
Okay, you don't. Like it's just like when you will be adding a lot of string to a. Let's say you're building a document.
So we generally it's just like a fundamental thing that JavaScript is like easily enables, and so I think people just use the primitives for that generally.
Okay, anyway, so yeah,
cool.
Like sometimes you need, but like and for short things like that with 2-3 parts, it's wonderful.
So we're just setting up an error there. Console.log.
Oh wow, okay. Oh, I had a question. So I think that for regular user Edge HTML or Chromium is 0 difference, but for dev it's better.
So Edge HTML. I'm not using Edge HTML. I'm using the Chromium based Edge. But also the problems of previous.
But I'm using partially. I'm still using a little bit of Chrome.
Yeah.
And the Edge Chromium, Edgeium, I don't know. Well, people give it many different names, but the Edge using the backend Chromium, and I love it. And honestly, it's true that as a user, I don't see any difference. But the difference is my computer stay very fluid because it's more efficient. So yeah, I have a strong machine, so it takes a lot to slow it down. But if I had the slowest machine, so I think if you are not a developer and you have like a regular laptop or PC or whatever, like using Edgeium helps you a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. And I mean, also like the Edge team is actually basically doing a lot of work to kind of help Chromium get to a place where it's closer to Edge. So they're upstreaming a lot of that work, and that's honest. Like the battery life stuff is getting upstreamed into Chromium. So that's not only going to help Edge, but that's actually going to help everyone running anything Chromium, including like Electron apps and stuff like that, which is I think really cool.
And thank you everyone for the answer of my string builder question.
Cool. So here, and then we're gonna do. How much time do we have left? Ooh, we have 10 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna do something real quick here. So I'm also gonna add in handlebars, so a rendering engine. So basically, what I've done so far is
you're building a request. No, like you are passing the parameter.
Calling that URL. Yeah.
And then
calling that URL.
If there's an error, you just show the error. You log a message.
Yep.
And then you start building. I'm assuming a response right now, where like you're the.
So, yes, I'm going to be using that data in. I'm going to be using that data in my response, like what the user is going to get when they request the /comic endpoint. So engine is going to be handlebars. So I'm super old school. I learned with handlebars and it works fine. Don't judge me. And anyone who's watching, don't judge me.
I cannot judge. I really don't know.
So, handlebars is a super old rendering engine.
Right. I said I didn't code JavaScript for the past 15-20 years. Old. Yeah, right.
I mean, it came out like 4 years after that.
Yeah, just like everything is relative. Like old, very, very old. Like crazy old. Like
I mean,
like 5 years.
For JavaScript, that's
I know what you mean. I was just having fun.
Yeah, I know.
For once,
Yeah. Cool.
I really don't know what happened. So like, people were asking in the chat, like if I don't think he got fired because a new version of they migrate. Like, I don't think they got fired because like they moved the backend on Chromium. I think it's a smart way to say, hey, you know what, like bunch of stuff already exists, just let's reuse it. It could have been a move from the architect. I really don't know.
Let's see here. So
I'm gonna see if is more than 6 months. That's what I heard. Like you have new frameworks every day, right?
Yep. So I'm also gonna do something real quick here and add a views. I'm getting real tight in time to do this. I really know what you mean by thought I had more time and did not. I've done a workshop around this in like an hour and a half before.
Yeah, but you didn't have the chat.
Streaming's different. Exactly.
And it's fun. That's why it's so fun. Like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do head.
Oh,
so I'm
fine.
just doing. This is just a normal templating engine.
Yeah. So thanks to you, we will come back. Yay! Party time. Let's applause the chat.
Yeah. To answer your question, Hugo, I don't think it will be switching to Chakra.js. The Edge team is contributing pretty actively to Chromium and to V8 itself. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to be sticking with Chromium as a base and working on making it better for Windows users and for users everywhere, and then also helping out with that globally. So.
Well, at least for a little while. After that, like if the other one is becoming like the other leader or whatever, who knows? But
yeah,
there.
Yeah, I think we will be sticking. My guess as a person who works on web stuff, not as a Microsoft employee, I have no clue what the Microsoft plan is that we'll be sticking on this stuff for a while.
And Microsoft, like if you look at it, like usually they don't deprecate or change too often. They try to keep that because there's the business people to support and everything. So like usually they will keep things there for a while. I'm not saying they won't try it. Like I don't know that other engine, but like I'm sure someone will try it. But right now they just put a lot of effort for Chromium. So yeah.
Yeah. So the other engine is actually what we're using right now. So V8 is the engine in Node, which I'm happy about because it means there's less engines that I have to focus on in my normal work. But yeah, so yeah, V8 is actually the JavaScript engine that powers Node. Okay, so what we did there is we went through and created a handlebars template, put it in our views folder. It's taken a title, an image, and a description, which are the things we built earlier: title, image, and description. We're saying render, so we also set up a view engine. So we set our engine to handlebars and are calling handlebars for that. I did not mean to move that out. I don't know if this request is going to work because it's saying it's not getting called. Oh, okay, this is why. So we're renaming request to R because we have a response in our request here, and that was conflicting. Yeah. And then that should work. I'm sure it won't. Yeah, so we set up oh my gosh, it worked. Let's see if it actually does it. So it's honestly scary that it did work. So yeah, app.engine, we set our handlebars engine and set our view engine. And then let's go down here. Nope. Let's see how it crashed. Let's see here. So response.render is not a function. Response.render. I spelled that wrong. I spelled one of these wrongs. Okay, so I think I said respawn. Respawn. No, what? What am I doing here? Why is this not?
Is it info.0.json?
So this is correct. It's
okay.
What I think is happening here is that, yeah, so that's not getting called because it's in the if. That's interesting. Let's see here. That is an interesting one. Oh, okay, I see. So I was actually in the callback rather than outside of it, which I should be. Oh, okay. So there's also a response here. So it was calling that response. So we're gonna call that one res. We don't care about that one really. I don't think. Let me double check. We do care. Cool. That should be fine. Okay, let's try it again. Oh boy. Views layouts. Okay. views, layouts. Cool. Let's try that again. Cool. Views.
Yep.
Boy.
I think I agree with you, Rydeki.
Oh yeah, we're at time, aren't we?
No, it says like a TypeScript.
Oh.
So see how to build component with TypeScript is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I've honestly feel like Microsoft Design. Yeah, TypeScript is pretty nice.
He's awesome. He's just trying to rush in 1 minute without like.
Yeah, I don't got this in 1 minute. Yeah. So basically, we want to be deploying this, and this could be what we do next time, and we can save requests to a database.
Yeah, we'll recap that next time. We'll say, okay, we have an app, we had like an API. We'll deploy that, and then we'll have more stuff.
Yep.
And yeah. Well, you know what? Let's switch on the side by side. Thank you a lot for all that gymnastic today. Switching PC and deploying 3 times the app and everything. It was really appreciated. I learned a lot of stuff. I hope you chat learned also a lot of stuff today on Node and a little bit of Azure too, because we do all things around Azure, so that's always cool. And to the chat, thank you for spending a few hours with us. Really appreciate it. And thanks to you. This guy will come back.
Wait, I don't know which direction it is. Which one? I've got it right. I got one of them right.
It's always got like, that's one thing, right? Up, it's easy. Down, but like ref and light, it's always like, I need to watch myself. Okay, this side. So thank you again. I will say bye-bye and see you on the next time. Bye.